Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Uriel Morningstar versus the World. I was away for a while due to a hospitalization and a surgery, but I'm back. This is part 13, so let's begin. The conflict between integrity and connection. I earlier mentioned in previous episodes, staying true to myself in a logical framework, being true to myself was a virtue. And then there's the logistician's trap. I see changing as a conforming and losing of myself. The reality, healthy relationships are not about conforming, they're about negotiation. If there's no room for negotiation, then society will eventually stop trying anything with me. This is because they feel that their input has no value. And as much as that's far from the factual truth, their mindset is driven by their emotions and not by logic. So why does it hurt me on such a spiritual level? Even the most logic-driven individuals have biological and psychological needs for belonging. When I say I deserve to be liked and I deserve to be loved, I am correct. That is a fundamental human requirement for anyone. But the pain stems from the cognitive dissonance. I've followed my internal rules for living correctly, yet the result is a life that feels very empty. The evidence of my isolation isn't just an opinion, it's a factual outcome of a lifestyle that prioritizes being unwavering over being approachable. So, analyzing that evidence, if the evidence shows that I'm alone, the variables in the equation need to be examined. So first, we examine stability. Stability is my strength. I refuse to accept false data. Unfortunately, my methods lead to isolation. And then there's the silence of others. And if we look at that, people avoid conflict when they believe the conflict will not lead to a resolution. If society's silent, then they have calculated that speaking up will only cause friction with me, without changing any results. People go to many lengths to protect their falsehood in life, and some even with deadly force. It doesn't matter that they are wrong and they're living in a lie, they'll still defend it, because it is all they have ever known. They see me as a threat when I challenge their whole existence and prove to them that it's all wrong, expose their facts and why it's false. They then turn to fear and ask themselves, well then, who am I? Not knowing themselves and questioning everything around them. I myself will then celebrate because I know I helped someone to finally wake up, question everything, and now think with their own open mind, and not the knowledge society dictated to you. They then slowly over the years find their true self on their own. My work here is done, and I can move on to help someone else to wake up. I plant that seed, but it's now up to them to make it grow into whatever life is out there of their own choosing. So there you have it. I am a logistician mindset, very stubborn, very set in my ways. I've learned many people dislike me, but won't say anything to my face, because they're trying to avoid conflict. I don't have much for family. They are bad and abusive people, and I therefore disowned them long, long ago. I have many acquaintances in my town, but I don't have any of those deep, meaningful friend relationships. You know, people who call you, nobody's hanging out with me, nobody visits my home. So, because I stay true to myself, and I'm unwavering and changing and conforming to anyone else's expectation, I'm alone. And I'm taking this very personal. It does hurt deeply to me on a spiritual level. Why won't they just let me be myself? Society just simply will not let me be 100% of my true self. Even the way you see me today is not the full version of me. My hair, my makeup, my clothes, my attitude, the way I talk, my body language, etc. is completely changed from my true self, just so it's safe to go outside or to talk to society chasing me down with pitchforks and torches. The real me would only be accepted by about 0.01% of the world's population, because only they would understand what it is they're seeing and the true meaning behind it all. So I, in fact, have to lose much of myself just so I can exist alongside the rest of humanity on this planet. I'm something ancient. I'm something very old. It dates back to before the Bronze Age, for those of you that can believe that. I've lived many lives here on Earth, each one being a pagan, a druid, an advisor to some form of rulers, and a natural healer of sorts. And the modern world cannot accept, acknowledge, or even begin to understand that, or even believe in reincarnation, and that to be true, but yet for me, it is. I am a starseed from deep space in the direction far beyond the contrastellar of Orion. I am a watcher, and I have the discernment to stand on the line between both the light and the dark, the good and the evil. I do not choose a side. I am here to observe life here on Earth, but to the best of my efforts, not to be a part of it. I deserve to be liked, I deserve to be loved, but in all seriousness, in all honesty, and in all reality, it's not there in my life. It never has been. For my whole 5 decades of life, almost at 6 now, and beyond. And this isn't an opinion. The evidence of my life is really there to back it up. It is a heavy realization to look at the data of my life and conclude that my commitment to my principles has resulted in total isolation. From a logistician's perspective, I have optimized for consistency and optimized for integrity, but the output of that system, meaningful human connection, always fails. There are always people avoiding conflict with me rather than engaging with me. It suggests that the communication channels have broken down because the cost of entry for others has become too high. But at the end of the day, you got 2 choices. 1, you join society and you'll gain many, many fake friends. You'll be popular, but you'll lose yourself and who you truly are. Or 2, you'll stay true to yourself. You will live the life that you want, but you're going to spend most of your life completely alone. There's not much of a gray area there, or a place in between. So I would suggest you choose wisely, and don't be a fool, and don't throw your life away. You only get 83 springs, 83 summers, 83 falls, and 83 winters if you're lucky enough to even make it that far. Some people only live to be 50, some people only live to be 40. So what are you doing with your life? What are you going to do with yours? Are you going to waste it pleasing others? Or are you going to live the life that you've always wanted and go for it, letting nothing or no one stand in your way? Myself, I'm going for it. It's my life to live, so I'm living it. And I won't waste another day, an hour, a minute, or a second on a fool. In the past, we talked about you meeting the real me. And now you have. You met an outlier logistician who wants not much to do with the world. But fasten your seatbelts, because I'm no longer going to be on the topic of who I am. I'm now moving on to show you the real world. Not the one you see every day, but the one that's hidden in plain sight right in front of you. And most of you don't even realize it's there. So as a young child, I went through many things that most of you would probably argue, oh, that's just on TV. There's no way that's real. That doesn't exist. But for me, it was very, very real. There's people that can back that up. There's family that know about it. These things were real. And it was bad enough that I've been in therapy for complex post-traumatic stress disorder my entire life. And there is no therapist, there is no doctor who can help me to fix what had been done. I'm going to take you all step by step through it, and I will go into great details, so be warned. I won't ever say the name of what group these people are, or the names of the people that are involved, ever. For doing so would be dangerous for both myself and for you. To talk about it openly and publicly, it has already caused death to people in my past. I have seriously lost people just because of talking on this topic. So I will not talk about the people, the groups, but I will talk about the fact that they are real, they do exist, their goals, what they're trying to do. So before I go today, here are some things for you to think about before I get into these new episodes that I'm doing, the next episode. So here's the questions. Why do we have to have a birth certificate? Why does everyone have to be recorded on a census? Why do you have to have a social security number? Why can't you just live off the grid without the police coming and forcing you back? Why do you have to have valid government ID? Why do you have to have a health card? Why do you have to slave at a job and pay taxes just so you have the right to food, shelter, and health care, which are necessities of life, for 49 years of your life? Why can't you just live and enjoy your life totally free? Why do we have to have rules, laws, etc.? And you'll go to jail even if you don't agree with them, and it doesn't matter. Why do you not have the ability to do what you truly want to do if it's not within those laws or the country that you live in? Why is every aspect of your life known and followed carefully? Do we truly live as free beings? Or are we heavily influenced and controlled by the media, television, radio, everywhere you see on billboards, commercials, everything? And if so, then by whom? And why? So, we will get into that. So let's begin there next time on Uriel Morningstar versus the World. I'll see you all soon.